Yo, what's going on, man? This is your boy Super Mario, man, and you are in the Yo with your boy, man. Today we're going to be talking about affecting a hi-hat loop from a virtual drum VST, and processing it through some outboard gear, just to give it a little bit of liveliness and a little bit of vibe in the actual mix itself. Now, what we have up to play is again a virtual drum VST, and this particular VST is the IK Multimedia Model Drummer. We have a hi-hat loop going on, and that's the only thing I'm utilizing on the VST. However, it's in the mix, but it's not in the mix, and there's no edge to it. There's no flavor. There's no depth. There's no excitement to that particular hi-hat. And to get it to groove with the rest of the, elements in this particular little beat that I put together or whatnot, we're going to do some outboard processing. And we're going to run the signal through mic pre EQ combo hardware unit, and it's called the Alctron MP73EQ. Did I say that right? Yeah, MP73EQv2. It's basically a Neve clone. You can tell by the number 73. It has a preamp gain circuit and also an EQ circuit. And then we're going to take that signal and run it in through a 76 clone compressor from Klark Teknik, which is called the 76 KT limiting amplifier. All right. So the whole purpose of this workflow demo for you guys is to kind of show you what you can do with, hi-hat loops, percussion loops, or any type of rhythmic loop, and really add, some seasoning to your mix. If it's missing something, if you got a loop and it just sounds perfect, hey, it sounds perfect. But if you know for sure it needs something, hopefully this video will serve you purpose. Let me just throw this in there. A lot of times just turning the volume up and down on a particular sound does not rectify or does not justify the sound cutting through the mix. A lot of times you have to add some type of processing, whether it's through outboard gear, through a plug-in or whatnot. You have to go the extra mile to add that something special to that particular sound. All right. So, just keep that in the back of your mind, just volume up, turning up the gain on the actual VST or the instrument or the player. It just doesn't do it justice sometimes. You have to add some type of special processing in order for that sound to cut through that mix and be special, or whatnot. So without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get into Ableton Live and work on this workflow demo for you guys. Let's go. All right, here we are in Ableton Live, man. We got this little demo beat that I did, and I want you guys to listen to the hi-hat, and I'm gonna solo it, and tell me if volume is gonna fix it. It won't. So let's go ahead and listen. All right, so that's what we basically have. It's just this hi-hat right here. Now we already got an EQ on here. We got a little scoop in the low mid right here, and then a little bump right here at about 4,000 or 4,500 or whatnot. And it sounds decent if you solo the instrument and everything like that. So let's go ahead and solo what we got. Now when you solo it, it sounds pretty decent. Nice sound, nice even balanced sound. But then when you put it in the mix, it get lost in the mix. Now one would argue, hey man, just turn it up. Well, if you look at my fader on Ableton Live, it's already close to zero. I really don't have any room to turn it up. If I turn it up in the VST, this is what's gonna happen. We turned it up and it still feel like it needs some type of edge, some type of saturation, some type of push, whether it's saturation, tape saturation, distortion, something needs something or whatnot. And that's what this purpose of this video is going to demonstrate, man. So we turned up the volume on the VST, didn't do anything. All right. So what we're going to do is process that hi-hat through outboard gear, right? Things that we need. Of course, we need a preamp some type of EQ and compression, just to do the basics. Okay. The tool that we'll be using to bring the audio in and out of the DAW is the external audio effect stock plugin in Ableton Live. We're going to go ahead and turn that on if you navigate down to the bottom left corner of this video. And we're coming out of the output 5 on my interface and coming back in on output 5. All right. Let's go ahead and see if we get any signal. So as you can hear, we don't have any signal. All right. And the reason being is because if you take a look here on my right hand side, we have a mixer. All right. So the sound is going into my processors, which is already fired up, ready to go for you guys or whatnot. It's a lot of things I have to do. And I'm just going to go ahead and set my default on my compressor. All right. The sound is going to come through this channel 1 fader because that's where I have the sound coming through or whatnot. If I look at my patch bay here, we are coming out of 5. And so 5 is going into the MP73 into the compressor. And if you guys want to take a look at what's going on, you will see what I'm talking about here. So let me go ahead and turn this camera on right here. All right. So here we go. All right. So as you can see here, you know what I'm saying, we have our compressor, our preamp and everything like that. All right. And we have the compressor right here as well. And my camera is focusing in. Maybe I need some more light, so let me turn that up. All right, so you don't hear any sound right now. It's because I have the fader down on the mixer. All right, so I'm utilizing this mixer right here to basically bring in the sound into the interface. All right, so the sound is basically being routed to the MP73, then it's going to the compressor over here, which let me fix that camera angle there. Cool. And let me make that adjustment real quick. There we go. All right, so the sound is coming here to the compressor, and then right here is coming on this mixer right here on channel 1. All right, so when we turn this fader up, you should hear something. Very low volume, right? Because we're not pushing enough sound into the compressor. All right, cool. So I had to match the volume coming out of that VST with all this processing and, you know what I'm saying, gain stage the compressor. So we basically have the sound the way we go. We're going to push more volume by way of the mic pre over here. All right, cool deal. So you hear the hi-hat. We have our mixer set at unity gain on the fader. All right, and if we need more volume, of course we can do that with the preamp that's already on the mixer and the EQ and everything like that. All right, cool. The mixer, by the way, is a Mackie Pro FX 12 V3 Plus mixer. All right, and this particular channel, it has a mic pre from Mackie. It has the 1-knob compressor, 3-band EQ, and ways to send out your signal via auxins, which is 2 of them. And we have our pan, mute, and of course the fader itself. All right. So let's go ahead and start, you know what I'm saying, pushing some volume in the Alctron MP73EQv2. All right, so let's talk about a couple of things here. All right, this blue button is the preamp. All right, say the blue knob, excuse me, is the preamp. All right, and right now we have it at 40 dB. It goes all the way up to 80 dB, and I'll give that demonstration. This button right here is the line button. We have a high impedance button here, 48 volt phantom power, and a pad button. Just in case the signal get loud, you can hit that pad button, bring it down 20 dB. We have a high shift knob. We have a mid frequency knob and frequency selector. We have a low shift knob and a low shift frequency selector, a high pass filter, and an output gain, EQ on and off. So we have the ability to just utilize the preamp or utilize both the EQ and the preamp And if we want the EQ, we just hit this top button that says EQ. That blue light shows. Boom, there we go. We have a phase button to, invert the phase. And then, of course, we have an input meter right here. And then right next to it, we have an output meter so you can monitor your output signal coming out of this particular unit right here. So that is pretty handy, man. Let's go ahead and start pushing some signal through the preamp. So right now we should be sitting at about 55 dB a gain. Now the cool part about it is we can engage the high impedance, and you'll get a lot more grit, a lot more push, and a lot more color. You feel what I'm saying? Let's hit play. Go ahead and take it out. Go ahead, put it back in. Take it out. All right, let's go ahead and EQ it. Let's go ahead and adjust the load. And before we do that, we're going to go ahead and solo the hi-hat. So right now it's off. The selector is off. We're going to go ahead and turn that. I'm going to put it on 110 hertz. So I can hear that foot pedal of the hi-hat. And then I'm going to cut it with the high pass filter at about 80. Just to kind of clean it up, all right? If I do 160, you still get some of that low mid. So that high pass filter in between 160 and 300 is a big jump. But it definitely took out the... So we're going to put it back on 160. We're going to keep it right there, all right? Just adds weight to that hi-hat. And then I'm going to try to find a middle frequency here. Turn it up a little bit. See, I'm already at 1600 kilohertz. And that's a little bit too airy for me. So we're going to put it back on 700. Bring it back to unity gain. I like it right there. So that's at 700, give or take about 3-4 dB. And then we have this high shift. Now this high shift is very aggressive. You have to use it very subtly. So let's give it a little bit of high shift boost. Right there. I hear the screech on that. I'm gonna back off a little bit. About right there. All right. So if you look at our input and output meters here, we got more signal coming in, you know what I'm saying? And due to our adjustments, you know what I'm saying, this is where we at on the right hand side of this meter. So we need to match what's on the left side, which is the input. So all we got to do is just turn up our output gain stage. A little bit more. Let's bring it back a little bit. Let's bring it up a little bit more. About right there. So that should be good. All right. Now, our compressor is on and it's already humming. So let's go over here and check out the compressor. All right. So we already got gain reduction on the compressor. All right. So let's back off on the input. And let's bring the gain reduction needle down to about 0. About right there. All right. So you can hear that volume kind of back off a little bit. All right, so now we could choose our different ratios. Right now we're on 4:1. We have our release time all the way fast, our attack time all the way fast. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is just basically push everything until I get to a point where I like it. All right, so we already heard that compressed signal like crazy, but let's actually play it with the mix. All right, we're gonna go ahead and push some signal into the compressor. I like that magic right there. Let's go and try the 8:1 ratio. 7/8, man. So when I did the 8:1 ratio, it kind of brought out a little bit of the high end on the hi-hat. All right, let me switch it back to 4:1 and see what happens here. All right, let's switch it to 8:1. All right, and let's go to 4:1. I don't know. The 4:1 seems like it's pushing a little bit of that high mid range. I'm gonna go to the 8:1. I like that. I like how the 8:1 is rocking on this particular unit here. All right, let's go ahead and about right there. I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the output. All right, cool deal. All right, let's go ahead and adjust the release and the attack time. So when I backed off on the attack time and made it, saying slower, which is kind of sitting at about on number 3 here on the attack time, we brought back some of those transients in the hi-hat. And it's really got a nice little groove to it. Let's hit play one more time. I like that. I like that right there. Now we don't have a bypass button, but what we're gonna do is there's a trick on this unit where if you soft hit and declick 8, it's bypass. So that's the sound coming into the Klark Teknik. Let me repeat that again. I think a lot of people don't know that. There's a secret function if you press on 8, 4, 12, 20, or whatnot. If you click on one of the buttons above or below the one that's already pressed in. If you just press on one of the buttons that's not pressed in very softly, you can declick the one that's actually pressed in and it'll be in bypass mode. And you're just hearing the signal being passed through the unit. See what I'm saying? So I like what we got so far. So what we're doing is just kind of gain staging from the external audio effect here. Turning that output down just a little bit. So that's the output gain set on the 76. All right, cool deal. So we got everything set on the 76 there. Now we're just going to focus on working on this mixer here. All right, so we have our fader at unity gain here. I'm just going to basically adjust by taste. All right, so I'll be rocking and rolling here on the 2 screens here in Ableton Live, and also you'll see me working here on the mixer. All right. So I'm making an adjustment in Ableton Live. I threw the mix in mono. I'm gonna take it back in stereo. Now I'm gonna come on the mixer and take out a little bit of that mid. All right, so basically on this EQ on the mixer, the mid frequency is fixed at 2.5K. Basically, I kind of cut it at about, give or take, -1, maybe -2 dB. It doesn't have any values on there. And what I'm gonna do is just hit play real quick. And I'm gonna go ahead and push the preamp on the mixer just a little bit. Now, what I need to do now is just basically go back to the model drum, and now I'm going to bypass that external audio effect and just hear the VST volume where it's at. And bring it back in. All right, so we're going to do a before and after, all right? So this is with the hardware. And let's go ahead and blow this up for you guys. All right, so that's with everything running through the processor. Now we're gonna go ahead and turn it off. And 5, 6, 7 off. And of course, we're gonna hear a difference because every VST is stereo. If you make beats, a lot of your VST is stereo, unless you specifically make it mono, like I did. I ran the output as mono, you know what I'm saying? If I ran it through stereo, it wouldn't be a difference, but you know what I'm saying, I ran it through mono, so you're gonna hear a difference for it's closing in and coming out on your earphones or whatnot. So that's with the VST right there, and that's with the processing. See how sterile and clean that is? So when we turn it back on with the mono, you just hear that. You just hear that razzle dazzle to it. It's got a little razzle to it. We're gonna turn it up a little bit. I'm gonna push the preamp gain just a little bit. So that's with it off. So that's the VST. See how clean? Very clean. And that's with the outboard gear. So you can kind of hear the difference, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like, you know, you take Kool-Aid or you take some water and then you add a little bit of Kool-Aid and yeah, you know what I'm saying? Or you take something that tastes real bland and you add a little bit of salt and pepper, some seasoning on there, and you can hear the difference, all right? And when we play it back in the mix, you know what I'm saying, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. All right, we're gonna go ahead and turn the outboard gear off. Here we go. See what I'm saying? It's kind of like you hear the hi-hat, but it doesn't have a groove to it. We're gonna bring the outboard back in. See how it pushes it forward in the mix? I'm gonna turn it off. See how it's like it's mixing something, but then when you turn it back on, and then if you want to, you can kind of turn it down right now in the DAW. I'm gonna go ahead and check it in mono. Turn it down a little bit more. And that's it right there, man. Yes, sir. So basically that's what that is right there, man. Processing your sounds through outboard gear. It definitely adds, you know, an excitement like none other. A lot of people use plugins and stuff like that, which is perfectly fine and whatnot. But it's something special about outboard gear and running your signals through that, because it just adds a different type of spiciness. With plugins, you're dealing with ones and zeros, but with outboard gear, you're dealing with electricity, man. It just, you know what I'm saying? Have you ever just kind of like turned your speakers up real loud and don't play anything? You can hear the hiss through the speakers. Well, basically, that's what's being added to your signal. You know what I'm saying? That hiss. It's something about that hiss with outboard gear that it adds to the signal. And I mean, you know what I'm saying? That hiss is kind of like seasoning. You see what I'm saying? But the power electricity with your audio is truly amazing and stuff like that, man. I hope this video serves you well for us understanding, you know what I'm saying, processing, you know what I'm saying, any type of rhythmic VST sound through outboard gear. Give you a different perspective on, you know what I'm saying, workflow and signal routing and processing any type of percussive or hi-hat loop or any type of drum sound in that case or whatnot. This is one of many of the videos that we're going to do showing you guys this particular workflow, man. If you found this video very useful, go ahead and hit a like on this video and also subscribe to this channel if you like this content right here, man. This has been your boy Super Mario, man, showing you guys how to, you know what I'm saying, add a little bit of seasoning to your sounds and stuff like that, man. Until next time, man, y'all stay creative out there, man. This has been your boy.